I'll tell you what, folks. I've seen some stories in the last 2 or 3 days. They'll make your toes curl. They really will. Some awful stories out there. It's a really, really nasty world and a harsh world as well in many places. I mean, we heard the story about Sarah earlier on this week, who's been killed by a dad, a stepmom, and I think it's an uncle. We heard all the horrific injuries that she'd sustained in the last weeks of her life. I think I read yesterday that where she's had her spine broken, the pathologist has said she's been hit with the same kind of power that a horse would generate if it kicked you in the back. I mean, horrendous, really. There's that woman that was killed on a park bench in London somewhere, I think it was. There's a black man that's killed her. She's an NHS worker. I think she's drunk and asleep on a park bench, and he's orally raped her time and time and time again. And then she's had a heart attack whilst he's done it. Heart's given out, not to be resuscitated. He's been found guilty. I believe the court have been looking at the video footage. It's horrific, I believe. Then I read something about a young girl that was abducted a long time since, now 10 years ago. She said the regime that's abducted her, they've fed them up, but there's been no food. They've killed young babies and they've fed young babies to them, and you think, surely that's not right. I didn't read it properly. I seen that yesterday somewhere. I seen another piece on it today, and I thought, no, I don't even want to read that. I don't need to read that. But that's 2 days on the bounce I've seen it. I mean, I think I heard today, I think somebody else has been killed in the cross-channel, the migrants. Another young baby's been killed on the way over. What else did I hear? It's all horrific. Everything's horrific. I believe I seen a headline somewhere on my phone. Another young baby's been killed by young parents, been murdered. I've not looked into it, but I'm thinking, oh my God, can it get any worse? Then I notice in Africa, they're actually killing elephants. They've had proper hunters coming in, killing about 200 elephants. They say they've got no food over there, the people, and no water. They've had no rain for 15 months in one part of Africa there. There's no food, there's no water, there's nothing. And the government's allowed them to kill elephants because they feast on elephants because they've got no food. It's absolutely horrific. Everything you read is bad, 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 bad. Alright, we've got it hard over here, harder than we'd like, with lack of money and no fuel payments and whatever else, but there's a lot worse places and there's a lot worse people, and then they're probably as bad a story as a lot. Did you read that about the young lad, was he from Ireland, somewhere in Ireland, what did they call it, catfishing or whatever it is? Anyway, what he's done, I think he's been messaging about 100 and odd young girls, very young girls, anything from 9 or 10 upwards, and he's pretending to be a girl, and he's got them sending photographs of themselves, and then with not a lot of clothes on, he's sending them stuff back as though he's a young girl. They're sending him stuff. Then he's blackmailing them, saying he's going to tell the parents, and it turns out he's doing that to a young girl in America, I think in Virginia, West Virginia. I think she was 12. This was 2 or 3 years ago now. She said, look, if you can't blackmail me, I'm just going to kill myself. He said, well, good luck with that then. She's gone away and shot herself. She's actually shot herself. 18 months later, a dad can't live with the guilt because he's left the gun in a place where she can get hold of it, and because he couldn't help her through any of this, he's actually killed himself 18 months later. Anyway, it only turns out when they've caught this young lad in Ireland and they're looking through his computer, it turns out the girl that shot herself in America, he's been blackmailing and nobody knew it at the time. They've only found out a year or two later. So he's in court now and he's going to be in a lot of trouble, but what a nightmare he is, It's an awful world, isn't it? I mean, whatever you read, on a daily basis, is there any good news? And how evil are some men towards others, are human beings towards others? It's crazy, isn't it? It really is bad. I could have done story after story and done 5 or 10 minutes on them out, but I just didn't want to. It's just depressing, it's upsetting, it's just sad. But I thought before I did my pieces tonight, I thought, how many stories have I read that are absolutely awful these last 2 days? Day after day, there's something horrendous happening there, and it's just awful world. It really, really is. Why can't folk just get on and leave folk alone, and be nice to one another? It's not hard to do. It really isn't. It is an awful world, folks. It really, really is. We're not having it great over here, but sometimes I think we've got to step back and think we're luckier than most. We really, really are. Anyway, no good thoughts there, but I'll leave them with you.